It is Met-Gala Monday on the Kardashians this week, and we got all of the behind the scenes looks on all of the sisters and Chris on their way to the red carpet. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Shared News. We are here live, as always, to break down this week's episode of the Kardashians on Hulu. I'm your host, Allison Van Dam, joined today by Kayla Thompson. Kayla, I am loving these Thursdays with you to break down everything that we watch from our favorite family. As always, guys, we have our live chat going, so feel free to put all of your thoughts and questions in there. We want to know what you think about this week's episode. Kayla, how are you doing today?
I am great. I'm so excited to talk about this episode. I loved this episode. This was like the one that I think all of us were like anticipating and waiting for. So, yeah, I always say every week, like I just love the glitz, the glam, the prep that goes behind
Mhm.
like all that the Kardashians do. So, for this to be like the biggest like red carpet kind of fashion event that all celebrities like to be a part of, like we got to see everything behind the scenes of that. I love this episode. So I can't wait to dive in.
Totally. And you and I were talking before we even went live. This is definitely some of the highlights and some of the good stuff that we've gotten from the Kardashians since moving to Hulu. It feels like we're getting more of
Mhm.
those behind the scenes looks, more of them directing things directly to camera, less, kind
Yeah.
of produced skits and sketches and all this random stuff that they were doing
Yeah,
before.
right.
Like we are getting their day-to-day life. We are getting them in glam. We're getting them being rushed out the door. And I enjoy
Right.
it. And I'm glad you enjoy it as well, because I really did think this was such a fun episode. So let's just
Yeah.
dive right in with the queen herself. We left off with Kim last week. She was getting ready. She was starting her transformation into Marilyn. She is now fully blonde. They pulled an all nighter to dye her hair. And not only was she watching documentaries on Marilyn, she's created basically her
Mhm.
own Ripley's Museum in her hotel
Yeah.
room. She has relics, she has
Yeah.
her makeup kit, she has, framed photos. She even invites all of her sisters over to see the kind of museum. And I loved her joke to Kylie of, don't touch anything. I know you have enough money to pay for it, but it's not worth it. Do not touch any of Marilyn's
Right.
things. Um,
Right.
and then what I was fascinated by is, obviously we know the dress is very fragile. She talked about the fact that she's going to get dressed at the Met. She's not even going to ride in a
Mhm.
car with it on. But she put it on in the hotel room to basically bank photos and get some good photos
Yeah.
with great lighting, then take it off and then go to the Met Gala in nothing but her Skims and a robe. I
Yep.
mean, it's clear to me that she just takes this so seriously. She's so
Yeah.
respectful of not only Marilyn, but the dress. She's
Mhm.
wearing gloves. She's trying really hard. So curious to know what you think about all of this. And
Yeah.
also, if you got to wear like a historical figure's dress or piece of
Oh
clothing,
my
or, honor
gosh.
them in some way, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. I'll have to think about that one. So like give me a minute while I like just kind of give my overall thoughts.
Okay.
And then I'll see if I can think of something. But no, yeah, I love how we get to see how hard Kim works for something like this. I said it last week. It's like it's more than just showing up and being cute. Like this is a project that she
Hmm.
had to pull off. There were so many people involved. I mean, I think there was like 5 people just putting the dress on her. She had to bedazzle her skims to make sure that like, the parts of the dress that weren't tying together, like it wouldn't, be too obvious. Um
Hmm.
and I think even setting up the photo shoot so that she made sure she got like quality pictures that she wanted. Like there's a lot of like kind of preparation to put that together. And I think this again just shows Kim K is Kim K because she's willing to do what others aren't. Like there's a lot of work
Exactly.
that went into it. And this is like next level and this is something she's passionate about. So yeah, and I also wanted to mention I love how she mentioned Kanye in such a kind way of like he's someone that
Hmm.
really taught me about fashion and now I get to like do something like this on my own. And I think that's just such it just shows like her character as well. um so yeah, again, I love seeing Kim kind of like everything that went into this. And yeah, again, what you said about her respecting Marilyn, like talking about like y'all don't sneeze, don't cough, don't, like y'all need to get out.
Yes.
Like
Don't do
yeah, I just
anything.
don't even breathe near this stuff. Um, but yeah, okay. So if I could pick something to wear, see the thing that's so cheesy about me is like the thing that comes to mind is like some kind of like superhero costume. like
Okay.
like if I
No, I
got to
like
put
it.
on like if I it's not historical. It's not historical at all, but like if I got to like wear the original like Wonder Woman suit or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Yep.
that would just like I would literally have chills. Like I would be freaking out. I don't know. That's like the only thing that comes to mind. I
Totally.
can't think of something historic. Like what about you? Do you have something in mind?
I know. I pitched you this question in the hopes that I would think of something while you were answering. I feel like for me,
Yeah.
I'm torn between two things. Like something
Okay.
maybe like Jackie Kennedy wore, or something like I loved her style and her
Mhm.
fashion, or
Yes.
less so specific to a person, but like any sort of the crown jewels of like the royal family, like any sort of like
Mhm.
tiara or those jewelry, like I would just
Yeah.
love to wear for like a moment.
Yes, so true. I think something else that came to mind is maybe like any of like Audrey Hepburn's like wardrobe.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
would like I would treat it like gold, like yeah,
You would
something
have
like
the
that.
gloves
So,
on, you would be ready to go.
oh,
You would be the one
oh
telling
yeah.
people not to sneeze. Yeah.
I'd be like, don't even
Well,
blink near this.
exactly.
Yeah.
The moment has come, Kayla. I have been asking you this question all season. Where is
Oh
Pete? And
yes.
I have an answer. He is here. We see Pete for the first time. So we see Pete in,
Woohoo!
she's getting ready. She's all ready to go in her robe. And I actually love, they
Mhm.
were telling a story of the fact that it was at last year's Met Gala. Pete actually asked
Mhm.
Kim for her number, and she let him down easy and said that she couldn't give it to him because she was wearing gloves. And, it was obviously a letdown, but she was doing it in a very kind way. And you mentioned not long ago about Kim's character and how she treats things and how she treats people. And that's kind of what Pete
Mhm.
touched on. If he was saying, I left that interaction like, oh, shoot, I got turned down, but also, wow, she really does have a way of making people still feel so good about themselves. So what did you
Mm.
think of our first Kim Pete interaction?
I thought it was so cute. I mean, the minute he came on the screen, I was like, "Oh my god, there he is!" Like, and I thought of you. I was like, "Oh, Allison is gonna be so happy about this." But yeah, I thought it was such a cute story that he told. And I think I like also that Pete, like he has this. I get why people like women like him and like you know are so attracted to him because I think like one he's tall, but like and also he's like has that northern accent. I'm from the north, so like I live for like a northern accent. But I think also it's that like he approached her, like he pursued her and wasn't
Yeah.
scared to kind of like hit on her. I think a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
nowadays like guys would not be hitting on Kim Kardashian like they will be scared. So the fact that he just like shot his shot is like I love that. Um but yeah, I'm so glad that they showed it because I think it would have been a huge letdown. I know we just like recently found out he might be in a new relationship, so I was kind of worried they were going to just
Mm-hmm.
completely omit it. But I thought it was really tasteful and cute. It's not like they were like making out or anything. I thought it was a sweet moment. She was saying he looked so nice. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool to see them even like ride together to the event. So I liked it a lot.
Totally. And I feel like it was interesting to see what their dynamic was because, no one
Mhm.
saw this relationship coming. And it was interesting to see them interact. It really gave me the vibes of just such mutual respect for each other and like such a good foundation of
Right.
even friendship. Felt very supportive. It felt very
Yeah.
normal. It didn't feel like they were trying to be showy, which honestly is like probably what Kim
Mhm.
was looking for. She went through so much public stuff with Kanye and then continued to go through stuff with Kanye once her relationship with Pete was out. He's posting things, he's doing everything.
Yeah.
So she probably loves like feeling safe and feeling just like quiet normalcy with Pete. But yeah, definitely
Mhm.
love this scene between the two of them. But also part of their getting ready process, hanging over their heads, is the Blac Chyna defamation trial. They're talking about the
Right.
fact that they'll find out soon what the verdict is. Obviously, that's adding to anxiety. Khloe has a ton of anxiety, not only for the trial,
Mhm.
but also for the red carpet. But the verdict is released literally as they are leaving for the Met Gala and they are cleared of any
Crazy.
charges. They are found not guilty of defamation. And what I loved more than anything was Chris and Corey FaceTiming Kim and Khloe from the car and like screaming and they're so happy. Like I
Yeah.
live for Chris and Corey. I don't know, I would have never
Aw.
predicted they've been together for so long, but they have such great
Mm,
energy. They clearly have such great love for each other. I mean, I
yeah.
would have been a nervous wreck not only for the Met Gala, but especially if I had this hanging over my head. I know they're very strict with phones in the Met Gala, so it's like, well, will we even find
Mm,
out what the verdict is? Like, how are they
Right.
functioning at this point?
I know. It's so crazy. And I think we saw just in certain people like Kendall or Chloe, like them being like kind of stressed about it, amongst the Met
Mhm.
of it all, getting ready for the Met and things like that. But, a lot of them just kept being like, this is so God, which I was just like, this really like, it has to be just God that it happened right before they went. So
Mhm.
they could just be like, oh, we can just
Yep.
breathe and just have a good night and not have it weighing over our head any longer. So yeah, I'm so glad that they won. I mean, we knew that they won, like this is obviously the past, but I think just the fact that like, yeah, I mean, it was kind of like for them to have a sweeping win, I was like, yeah, because we all knew the Blac Chyna case was like, okay, she just
Yeah.
doesn't have
Yeah.
much of a leg to stand on. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And it definitely helped them relieve some of their anxiety. Obviously, we still saw the
Hmm.
stress, like you mentioned, with Chloe and Kendall, which we'll get
Yeah.
into. But you know who is not
Hmm.
stressed whatsoever? Kourtney is chilling. She is just living her best life. She said that there's nothing to stress about because the worst thing that could happen is her falling down the stairs. Like, she is so clearly in her new era with Travis. She really does not care what people
Mm-hmm.
think. She is living her best life. She's living her truth. And I think also it helps that she's going with Travis. She clearly feels so calm
Yeah.
with him, so confident with him. But what got me, Kayla, is when she said that she didn't want
I
to
knew
screw
you
up her
were
makeup. So now they're going to kiss with their tongues. Like, I was watching it and I had like verbal external reactions to this. It was my body, it was my,
I wish I could have been there to see
like,
it.
would you ever do something like
No,
this?
literally. I was like, no, you know what? I was like, okay, Chloe. I mean, Courtney. Oh gosh, I keep messing up their names. I was like, okay, Courtney, really? Like, it's too much. But you know what? Like, if I was as in love and as carefree, like as Courtney is in this relationship with Travis and her new era in life, I probably would do something like that. I just feel like she's like, I don't care. Like, this is us. This is what we would
Hmm.
do if no one else was around. So here it is. And I don't know, it was like weird and a little gross, but I just felt like I still loved it because I just love that Travis brings out this side of Kourtney.
Hmm.
And I love what she said. Like even in another part of the episode, she was like, Travis really reminds her of like, this is just supposed to be fun. Like it's supposed to be another
Yeah.
experience for us to have, not to be worried about what people think, not to be worried about what could go wrong. Like he just kind of grounds her, and I really love that for her. And so I was like, girl, go ahead and kiss with just your tongues. I mean, who whatever. Do what you have to do.
They're doing it.
If
They
that's
are
what you
doing
need to
what
do.
they have to do, doing what they want to do. My goodness.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
Kendall,
gosh.
of course, is no stranger to the Met. She's been there many times before. But because of her dress and trying to get in the car, and we know that she struggles with anxiety, she actually ended up kind
Hmm.
of having a panic attack in this Sprinter van on her way to the Met. You could tell she was kind of on the verge of tears, but was trying to take it in and really
Hmm.
just like coach
Hmm.
herself through. And then she says that she needs a sip of water and she also needs to pee. So her team actually ends up finding an ice bucket that they empty out for her to like pee in underneath her giant skirt. I mean, like, this is the type of stuff that we love to see. This is the behind the scenes.
Right.
Hey, it happens. You forget to go to the bathroom. You got to go before you go to the carpet. But does
Yeah.
this not just show you like what great people the Kardashians have on their teams? Because like the
Oh my
team Kendall
gosh,
has assembled,
yes.
they are on it. They are ready to catch her pee. They're ready to clean out that bucket. And they're even telling her, don't worry about it. Happens all the time. This happens all the time
Yep.
backstage. Da 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 da. They're convincing her it's fine.
Yeah, it's so true. No, they're amazing. They're amazing. But you know what's funny is that I kind of saw the other side of it where I was like, wow, they must really love working for Kendall because
Mm,
I
mm-hmm.
felt like her whole like attitude wasn't, she wasn't mad, she wasn't blaming anyone, she wasn't like, cussing anybody out, she wasn't taking anything out on anybody. She was just like, "Oh my gosh, guys, I'm like," she's being so sweet. She's being like really graceful about it and just being like, I know this is
Yep.
so gross, but like, please don't, judge me. It like shows again a lot of their character. They just have great character. A lot of the Kardashians. And so yeah, but I think the other piece of it for me too with Kendall that sucked to see was just like, wow, even like Kendall Jenner struggles with panic attacks and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know exactly what was making her panic. I don't know if it was, the stress of like how things are going to turn out, how she's going to look on the carpet, things like that. But it's like, us like mere mortals in comparison to the Kardashian Jenners, it's like, how could you even be stressed? Like, you look perfect.
Yeah.
But even for them, it still cuts through. And so it was kind of like a mix of, oh man, that sucks, but also kind of relatable at the same time. Um,
Totally.
so yeah,
Yeah.
but interesting that she peed in that ice bucket though.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta go, and I'm with her. Like, if I knew that's a long carpet, if I knew I had to make it through that and be doing interviews and talking to people and taking good
Oh
photos,
my
I would
gosh.
want all
And
the liquids
holding
out of my
it.
body. So, yeah.
Totally.
So, I give her credit for just saying what she needed in that moment and going for it
Yeah,
because things happen. But Kim
it's true.
also is dealing with a little issues in her arrival. Obviously, she's still in her skims and her
Mhm.
robe, but her car actually misses the drop off and the little dressing room that they had set up for her. And the only other option is to go back around that whole block. And we saw it's bumper to bumper. Like, it took them a really long time to even get there. So the
Yeah.
only option is, she said, her team and Pete jumped out of the car. She's like, grab your jackets, grab your umbrellas, because she didn't want any of
Yep.
her look, including her blonde hair, to be ruined. So they just kind of cover her. I kind of wish we would have seen that, but maybe she didn't
I
want cameras out there to
know.
like bring attention to it. But that would have been a very funny visual to see her move in like that. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, it just proves how dedicated she is. And in her little interview
Yes.
moment that went along with it, she was talking about the drive she had for this moment, for the dress, for the hair, like everything that went
Mm.
into it, into honoring Marilyn. And which we've
Mhm.
definitely seen between the workouts, between pulling an all nighter to do the blonde.
Yeah.
Like, she really is giving it
Yeah.
everything she has. At the same time, she's been showcased, I really feel like, in the last couple episodes, being the hype woman for her sisters. She convinced Chloe to
Yeah.
go. She's sharing a glam team. She's FaceTiming. She's coordinating schedules. She's telling
Yeah.
Kylie when Chloe's coming. She's checking in on Kendall. Like,
Yep.
I feel like she's captain of Team Kardashian at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering,
It's
is this
true.
just like the new era of Kim? I feel like she's really gotten a lot of confidence since
Mm.
going out on her own, not being with Kanye. And maybe
Mhm.
this is just part of
Mhm.
her new chapter.
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be like just as you get older and things like that. I mean, she has like kids and all these things, and yeah, leaving Kanye and just having her own business. And I think even what she talked about of pulling off this Maryland thing really was like, I did that. Like, I'm proud of myself that I did. Like, having moments
Hmm.
like that really can build you up and be like, I want to see that in Chloe. I want to see that in my sisters. I want to see, in the people around me. So, but yeah, I thought it was absolutely incredible that she's kind of juggling these things. Like, as she's on her way in New York City traffic, this is the Met Gala. Okay. Like, traffic must have been insane. Like, you're kind of stressed.
Yeah.
No, but you're texting to make sure that your sister like has her moment and feels completely confident in who she is and what she brings. I just loved all of it. And again, kudos to her team for, her and her team for her not blaming anybody, but just saying, hey, like, we just missed it. We just need to, like, let's just get it together and
Hmm.
do what we need to do to get there. And then also for her team to be like, yeah, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
I loved all of it. I think this is why the Kardashians are who they are, because they're willing and they have such amazing people working with them. So it was
Totally.
cool.
Yeah. So I feel like one of the most relatable parts of this episode, outside of the anxiety and the stress and things going wrong, is the fact that Kim, Chloe, and Chris finished the night off back at the hotel with donuts and pizza. It's this elaborate feast. Kim has been eating
Yes.
so clean. She's been working out multiple times a day. This is her like reward for doing all this. But then she decides to step off the floor and put on a different Marilyn dress, the dress that Marilyn wore to the
Mhm.
Golden Globes, and take more
Mhm.
photos of the Golden Globe that one of her
Yeah.
friends actually loaned to her for this moment. And it's like so funny to me because even Chloe and Chris are asking her, are you not tired? Do you ever stop? Like, she is just a machine. And then, of
Yeah.
course, we get the infamous shower question scene that we've been
Mm.
seeing since the first teaser of this season, her asking
Mhm.
Pete if he wants to
Mhm.
shower with her. I mean, I wish we would have maybe gotten a little bit more of the evening part, a little bit more Pete. Maybe they did cut some out, like you mentioned, now that they're not together, now that he's moving on. But I mean,
Mhm.
final thoughts on this whole kind of like Met Gala moment for all of the women.
Yeah, I loved it. Like you said, I loved that they went back and had like I think anybody like if we were to all like go and have like oh we went out to this event, we would all come back and have pizza and just hang. But of course it's like in the Kardashian way where they have someone literally making the donuts for them like in there like the actual
Yeah.
donut shop is set up in their hotel. It was still like elevated to the upteenth level. I loved it. I thought it was like relatable, but still like glam, still like elevated.
Mhm.
So I love that. And I think even with the Pete scene, I thought that this was a tasteful way to still put it in the episode because, I think in I think if they were to show them in the shower and kind of show too much, it would start to be like, okay, well, they're not
Oh,
together.
yeah.
So how much
Yeah.
are we really going to lean into it? So I liked how they kind of went into they leaned into kind of the comedic route of it. Like the way that Pete was like he threw everything out of his hand and ran over, it was more funny. I was like that was a really tasteful like smart way to put that in
Totally.
there and to keep it in.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I just love this episode. This is probably my favorite episode of the season.
Yeah,
So
no, it was a super fun episode. I'm with you. We've been building up to this for a while, so it was so nice that they kind of put everything in there. I'm glad they didn't leave us on a cliffhanger. I'm glad we just got
right,
all of the Met all in one episode. But
right.
speaking of, in the teaser for next week's episode, we can look forward to Kim and Chris. They're headed to Paris with North for Couture Fashion Week. Kylie is getting ready for
Mm-hmm.
the billboards. Chloe is actually settling into life at home with her new baby boy. Obviously, the first episode of this season was that whole story of her baby boy being born. They did it not chronologically, but it's clear we've caught up at this point. We're back to where we started at the beginning of the season. So, final
Mm-hmm.
question, Kayla, what are you most excited to see in next week's episode?
Absolutely has to be Fashion Week. I've always wanted to go to Fashion Week. Just let a like in New York, let alone like they're going to Paris, right?
Yeah.
Um
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and for it to be like I get to see Kim go, like I've been saying this whole episode, I love seeing them get ready for these events. I think
Yeah.
it's so much fun. I love high fashion, so definitely that's what I'm most looking forward to. Even with Kylie going to billboards, I think that'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see her balance. Like, she's like new mom and stuff, or had just had another baby rather, and then like still, doing the events and red carpets and stuff. So yeah, I'm most excited for that.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I love all the traveling episodes. Obviously, seeing them on Kim Air will be fun, but I am very excited to see some more Kylie. She hasn't been
Mm,
super present this season. I mean, I know we just saw her with some Met Gala stuff, but I'm ready to start getting some more Kylie content. So I think next week will be a nice episode, and then we're pretty much done
yeah,
with this season, is what you were saying, right, Kayla?
yeah.
Season
It's
two
the
is wrapping up.
finale. It's the
Oh,
finale
I feel like
next
we
week.
just started.
So I know. I do too. I can't believe this. I guess 10 episodes is kind of short. I guess in a way,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think they'll end with a bang, but they'll also end with like the sentiment of like Chloe and the baby, and so
Hmm.
that should be fun. I was hoping we could get the Kravis wedding, but maybe that'll be
I
next
was
season.
too. I was too because we've
Yeah.
seen so much prep for it and it feels like so
Right.
long. Season 1 was a lot to do with their engagement and that feels like so long ago. So it's like, okay,
Right.
when are we finally going to get the Kravis wedding?
I know, but we'll hold out for season 3.
Season 3. And of course, we will be here recapping not only next week, but season 3 as well. So for now, that does wrap up our kind of breakdown of episode 9 of the Kardashians. Feel free to leave all of your thoughts in the comments down below on all of the Met Gala looks, all of the prep. Would you pee in an ice bucket? We want to know down below in the comments. And before you go, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any of our future content. We're always here with all things Kardashians, Bachelor, Dancing with the Stars, all things pop culture. I'm your host, Allison Van Dam, joined today by Kayla Thompson. Feel free to come say hi to us on our Instagrams, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye guys.